Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Knutson, and I work with Fairfax County's Department of Transportation. And I want to welcome you to this meeting tonight to discuss the traffic calming plan for Radford Avenue. And we can start with introductions. And tonight from FCDOT, we have Benaz, Grace, and Nicole joining us. And from the Mount Vernon District Supervisor's Office, we have Diego. And if any of the community task force members are logged on to tonight's meeting, they can introduce themselves during the Q&A that will follow the presentation. Benaz has a short presentation to run through. Then we will try to address any questions or concerns after the presentation. So, Diego, do you have anything that you would like to add before we start?
Hi there, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Diego Rodriguez Cabrera, and I'm with the supervisor's office. I will be absorbing Peyton's responsibilities. So as you guys communicate with him, he'll sort of relay that information to me. So thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight, and let's just get the meeting started.
All right. So, Benaz, if you're ready, you can go ahead and start.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we are going to discuss the traffic calming program for Radford Avenue. So please note that this session is being recorded and may be shared on social media. Please hold all your questions until the end of the presentation, and instruction for how to ask questions will be provided after the presentation. So tonight, we are here to explain the traffic calming process, provide an opportunity for community feedback, and answering any question you all might have. So let's begin with traffic calming. Traffic calming is generally the installation of physical devices to reduce vehicle speed. These devices can be either vertical or horizontal. Vertical devices are driven over, such as speed hump, showing up to the left of the screen, while you drive around horizontal devices such as raised median islands, and the image is showing up to the right of the screen. Both types of devices make the road safer for both drivers and pedestrians. And we want you to know that during this process, we are not permitted to install stop signs. Here we have charts and images showing the effects of decreased speed. As speed decreases, visual acuity, field of vision, and depth perception increase. Also, with reduced speed, we come to significant reduction in the number and severity of crashes involving motor vehicles. So if you look at the map here, we have the traffic calming projects throughout the county, and there are over 200 projects resulting in almost 500 devices countywide. Every district has devices, and chances that you have driven over one is pretty high. So the upcoming project can be broken up to 5 steps. Step 1 is project initiation. Step 2, plan development. Step 3, community engagement. Step 4, ballot phase, and step 5, which is the final step, is project installation. So as you might know, all traffic calming projects are always community initiated. So the process begins with the request from the community to the supervisor's office. And once the request is received, we will first complete a basic eligibility review. Next, we will conduct a traffic study. And once it passes both the eligibility and traffic study, the community will then form a task force. There are eligibility requirements that need to be met, and it needs to be VDOT maintained road, have a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, be functionally classified as local, collector, or arterial, and if it is collector or arterial, it needs to be residential street. Once passing basic eligibility requirements, we move on to conduct a traffic study. For the volume criteria, we need between 500 to 6,000 vehicles in 24 hours, both directions combined. For Radford Avenue, we had 888, so 89, sorry. So we met the volume criteria. For speed criteria, the recorded 85th percentile of speed needs to be greater than or equal to 35 miles per hour. This means that 15% of vehicles need to be traveling at 35 miles per hour or faster. in at least one direction of travel. So the speed that we found was 35 mile per hour on northbound lane and 34 mile per hour on southbound lane, which means that Radford Avenue met the speed criteria as well. So plan development is the second step. First, we will conduct a site visit in the field in order to develop a draft plan. Once we have the draft plan, we will meet with the task force to get feedback and then amend the plan if necessary. And once the task force is satisfied with the draft plan, homeowners directly adjacent to any proposed measures will need to sign off the placement of the device in order to move on to the next step. Here we have device placement requirements. Based on the guideline, we need minimum 300 feet between measures and from existing stop conditions. We need minimum of 150 feet from an intersection, minimum of 150 feet for adequate sight distance with any device, and it has to be fit on the existing roadway. So we have to take into account any driveways, manholes, utilities, and also we count for the grade of the road. So based on available options in a site visit, we are able to propose a plan for Radford Avenue as seen in this device map. We are able to propose one speed hump and one speed hump or speed table. Sorry, we have two speed humps. And the addresses that you can see in blue boxes, we will need to sign off since the proposed devices are adjacent to their homes. So here we have the speed hump schematic. The speed hump is 12 feet long and 3 inches high at the center. There will be a white chevron in each travel lane and a speed hump signs with the recommended speed of 15 miles per hour on each side of the speed hump. So step 3 is a community meeting, which we are here tonight. There is where we present the plan for the community to obtain feedback. And based on the feedback, the task force will decide whether to amend the plan or proceed to next phase. If the task force decide to move forward, we can move forward to ballot phase. So in ballot phase, each household in the ballot area will receive one vote. It will need to send directly to the district supervisor's office, and the ballot period will be open for a minimum of 3 weeks, and supervisor's office will tally the votes and notify the task force of the results. Here you can see an example of a ballot. The proposal devices will be listed on the ballot and the committee will be voting for the entire plan. Here, the task force is responsible for distributing the ballot packages to everyone in the ballot area. And there are 3 ways to return your ballot by the deadline. One way is that you can mail the ballot. You can also hand deliver to the supervisor's office, or you can email it to the supervisor's office. Please do not return your ballot to the task force, and please use one of the methods listed above. Here we have the ballot area map for Radford Avenue. There are 80 ballots, and in order for the proposed plan to move forward, we will need greater than 50% of all households to vote in favor. So we will need 41 yes votes. So if we get to the required number of yes votes, we can move to step 5, project installation as a final step. So traffic calming plan will be presented to the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors for endorsement, and this resolution will be sent to VDOT. FCDOT will work with the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services to schedule installation, and finally the traffic measures on the plan will be installed. So here is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much. Now we move on to the question session. You have 2 options. You can chat or speak. Once the chat item is activated on Teams, you can use it by typing your question. And if you want to speak, please click on raise your hand icon. That will be unmuted once it's your turn. And if you're on the phone, please push *5 to raise your hand. When it's your turn, the host will call on you to ask your question, and you need to push *6 to unmute. And after you're finished, please push *5 to unraise your hand. Thank you so much.
Okay, the first question I'm seeing is from Sarah. I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic. I see, let me try to send you one more to see if we can get to you. Should be coming your way.
And Sarah, if you're not able to unmute, you can go ahead and type that question in the chat, and we'll go ahead and try to respond as best we can.
Sarah says it's nice to meet everybody and that she's a member of the task force who helped initiate their request and is very excited. And if you could please repeat once more the ballot process.
Okay, Banaz, if you want to go back to the slide that shows like the ways to return, or we can leave it there either way. Basically, for the ballot process, if the task force decides to go ahead and proceed to the ballot process, we will send templates to the task force for them to work off of. They'll need to produce that ballot packet that would be sent out to all the parcels that were shown in the ballot area. Basically, that ballot packet is going to include a cover letter, the ballot itself that we were showing a sample of earlier, the device location map, which would be similar to the map that we showed that had the device locations identified on the map, and then also the schematic for the speed hump. So basically, you would need to print those out, modify the cover letter so it reflects the process here, the project for Radford, send it back to the county for approval. We'll review the edits that you make sure everything's okay, and send them out to the identified addresses in the ballot area. We would normally leave that ballot time period open for about 3 weeks. So the closing date would need to be included in the ballot, on the ballot, and on the cover letter. So when you start to produce the ballot packet, you would figure out how long it's going to take you to disperse the ballots, add that time into how long you want to leave the ballot open for. So like I said, normally about 3 weeks, we would identify that on that time, that closing date on the ballot and the cover letter. So then you would disperse the ballots, and the people that were receiving the ballots can either mail them back. So the ballot is basically like a bifold. So you would fill out the information on the ballot on one side. The mailing address for the supervisor's office is on the other side. They would fold it, tape it shut, and put it in the mailbox. It can include a stamp on that if you would like. Or they can scan it and email it back to the supervisor's office, or they can hand deliver it to the supervisor's office. So I think that's pretty much the ballot process.
Sarah says thank you and asks a follow-up question. Approximately how long does it take to install the fixtures once the ballots are received?
Generally, it's going to take, around 6 months, maybe a little bit more than 6 months. So once the ballot process is finished, and if it's a positive outcome, the supervisor's office will, compile the results. They'll let the task force know. They'll let our office know. Once we find out that it's passed, we would then have to select a date to take the project to the Board of Supervisors so they can endorse that project and okay the expenditure of the money for the installation of the devices. And then once that happens, we would send off a resolution to VDOT and an installation packet to DPW. And once DPW receives the installation packet, it generally takes them, 4 to 5 months to get the devices installed. It does take us, about a month or so to get on the board's schedule. So, at a minimum, 5 to 6 months after the ballot process is over. And you're welcome. And so, Banaz, if you want to go to, I think we have a slide in there that's kind of like the next steps that might follow the presentation that you just showed. So we can discuss that. And, we basically have pretty much. I mean, the next steps truly are for the task force to reconvene, make a determination if they want to proceed to the ballot or if they want to stop the process or, modify the plan and try again. It would seem that, at this point, you're either going to go ahead and move to the ballot phase or, stop the process. If you do, like I said, decide to go ahead and issue ballots, you would just let the supervisor's office know, and we would send out the templates for that ballot process. And Banaz has up right now the screen that shows the parcels that are all included in this ballot process. So all these parcels would need to receive a ballot. You can hand deliver those ballots or you can mail them out. It's up to the task force how they wish to disperse. And so, like I think Diego touched on earlier, he is taking over for Peyton Smith in the Mount Vernon District Supervisor's Office. So all the communication that you would have following this meeting would be directed towards Diego. And right now, Banaz has up on the screen some contact information if you all have follow-up questions after the meeting. So on the left-hand side is how you might be able to reach Fairfax County Department of Transportation. If you do have questions following and you would like to speak to one of the staff from FCDOT, you can send an email into dotinfo@fairfaxcounty.gov. With the subject line Radford Avenue traffic calming, or you can call 703-877-5600 and ask to talk to somebody about the Radford Avenue traffic calming project. The same is true for the Mount Vernon office. You can email mountvernon@fairfaxcounty.gov with the same subject line, Radford Avenue traffic calming. And or you can call 703-780-7518. And I do believe that Diego dropped his email address in the chat. So if you do have, if you want to reach out directly to Diego, you can send it to his work email directly.
Just to let you guys know, this, well, like Banaz mentioned before, that this session was recorded. If you registered and in the registration you put an email address, once the recording is made available, it will be pushed out to your email address. So just keep an eye out for that, and it will be made available for those that have joined by email.
And so with the size of this ballot area, I would say that we would probably want to leave that ballot process open for about 3 weeks. That should be sufficient for 80 addresses to receive and respond. Like we were saying earlier, you can mail those out or you can hand deliver. A lot of task forces choose to hand deliver, and then that way they can actually talk to the people when they hand them out. We just can't have you collecting those ballots once you've given them over to the resident within the address. And so, probably one thing that we would need to find out is if you all would like to have the ballot go to the property owner or to the people living at the address. So you can make that determination amongst the task force and also with the supervisor's office. I think the supervisor's office in Mount Vernon is generally open to either one. They would probably support the decision the task force makes. And again, Banaz has up on the screen on how people can return those ballots. It can be mailed back. Like I said earlier, it is just like a bifold. The ballot's on one side, supervisor's office address is on the other side. The person will just fill it out, fold it up, tape it together, and put it in the mailbox. Or they can scan it, take a picture, and email it to the supervisor's office. The return information will be included on the ballot, so we'll have the mailing address on the ballot on the flip side, but also the email address that it can be emailed to. It will be included on the ballot. And it doesn't look like we're having any more questions. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and sign off for the evening. Again, if you do think of something that you would like to ask later on, you can reach out to FCDOT or to the supervisor's office directly to Diego, and we will try to respond as best we can. And if you would like to move forward with that ballot process, we will get that information out to you probably sometime next week. So everybody have a good night, and thank you for attending.